Hello, I'm back with another video, and I just wanted to offer some reflections that came upon me, kind of like clearly. Um, I Now I want to start prefacing this video that I must offer these comments in a spirit of reflecting and open-mindedness, but also reason at the same time, almost like a space cadet, for lack of a better word, like in a like maybe like a, if you can imagine, like on like those just like a like some people like sitting on a couch, just kind of like letting their mind go deep and finding uh insight just by letting the mind flow. So that's the spirit that I'm coming with. And just like, I think as a scientist must always invoke what's the word, they must always invoke uh I think it's the Hippocratic method, or like introduce, always keeping doubt in an open mind. So like with the scientific method, a scientist puts forward a hypothesis and then tests the hypothesis, but the hypothesis is always open to change, and that is the strength and the validity of the scientific method and of science. So at the same time with this video, likewise, I'm just speaking free form, but not in absolute terms, and not with absolute authority. Or I think I would I would I would come across as being false, or I would compromise the message if I spoke with certainty and authority. So I'm just kind of speaking open-minded. But I wanted to talk a little bit about deja vu. Now, if you think about, they say like America is the land of the free and the brave. But I think that that's true in many sense. We have a lot of liberties that are really profound in this country, and I'm thankful for the opportunities that I have here, and also the sacrifices and the mercies that other people have made to facilitate my existence and freedom in this country, notwithstanding the problems and the challenges we have. But what I want to say is that, what does that freedom really amount to for the average person in America? And I would say that it amounts to treading water. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I just mean that if, in another analogy would be like, if you like, when you're in a if you can imagine being in a lake, where within water you can do anything you want to do in the water. You're almost completely free in the water. However, you're so free that you're actually fettered and bound, and you have to tread water to stay afloat if you're actually within complete freedom in the water. And you can actually stay afloat and manage that amount of freedom into staying above water in cohesion, but it requires a lot of effort. And I would say that as a person treads water, the movements that you have to do in order to stay afloat, if you've learned how to swim and you can tread water, the movements are so sophisticated, yet at the same time they're almost like inevitable and calculated, to where there's only like a specific way that you can move yourself in order to stay afloat, and you instinctively feel what those motions are. But they're so sophisticated and broad, but to the point that they're almost limited by how sophisticated they are, and there's only like a certain way you can move, and you know what that is, and that's what you end up doing. So I want to say that I think a lot of our life is similar, where, in reality, we kind of exist in ultimate reality that is undefined and free in essence. And it's so much so that if you know anything about choice, if you introduce unlimited choice, it can actually be stifling in a certain sense, because there are so many options that you almost don't know where to land. But somehow within the sheer amount of options, the things that you actually do choose are almost inevitable in a sense, because there's so many options that they're actually kind of limited in a way. And so they're limited to the point that they're almost inevitable, however broad they are. Another example of that would be like, if you can imagine being like in a bar setting, where like a social setting, and maybe there's a person that you're interested in there, and you would like to have a certain experience interacting with that person. The amount of topics that you can broach, the body language you can use to get close, to get in proximity to have a conversation, all those things are so vast and broad and free that it's actually kind of stifling, where it can be very hard to think of what to say when with a person. And I think that's a little bit going into the message that I wanted to come with in this video, and saying that what I think is that I think that, like, if you've ever experienced deja vu, deja vu is a really it's a really powerful sensation. And I would say that probably anyone who has experienced deja vu, I think most people have, but I can't speak for all people. I think if you have really experienced deja vu, it's something real. It's not it's a real sensation that you've been here and seen this before. And I want to say that if it is true, if you have ever actually had an authentic experience of deja vu, and it was in fact deja vu, at what point would that experience of deja vu stop being deja vu, in that experience is fixed and you've been here before? However, the next experience is not fixed and you have not been there before. I would say that that's probably not the case. And if we have ever actually in fact experienced deja vu, then likely all of our life is actually deja vu, because that experience is so real and thorough that I don't think it would ever stop. And that in fact the times that we do experience deja vu are actually a break from deja vu, in that when we're experiencing deja vu, we're actually having an overlap of we're actually experiencing two different timelines, or a series of inevitable events and actions that are overlapping and coalescing in such a way that we're faced with a decision, in that we are we're actually experiencing two different series of events. And so our regular life is what the real deja vu is, and then the experience of deja vu is actually the breaking of deja vu, which is why it's kind of the serious and the unsettling feeling that comes about during deja vu, because we are actually maybe approaching a veering of a series of events, or maybe a compromising of a series of events that has led us to a certain point. And I want to say that maybe that is some of the difficulty that a lot of people experience in like things like relationships and dating. I think that some of the challenges involved in courting and dating, and also the bounties and the blessings of courting and dating, are such that it's almost like fixed in a way, where there are certain opportunities that are that fall upon us, and there are also certain opportunities that evade us, try as we may. And I don't mean to say that like in a limiting way. I think like a lot of people would probably really not appreciate me saying that relationships are fixed, and we don't have a choice in the matter, because we always have choice to some extent. But I just want to say that I think there are some elements of our experience that are so sophisticated and broad that they actually amount to being limited in such a way that it's almost like a fixed, or like deja vu, or like a timeline, and it's very difficult to break with a cycle that we're locked into. I think it's been said that most actions that transpire are a part of and inspire a further cycle, whatever action that may be. And like it's in the saying, each action has a reaction, but what that amounts to is actually a cycle. And these cycles are so sophisticated and overlapping that it's both broad but also limiting. And I think that that's some of the challenges that we experience in dating. And a lot, I think it's true in many aspects of our life that what we do, it seems like choice and very free, but in a certain sense, it's actually inevitable. And there's maybe not as many options as we would have thought. And so I don't mean this in a limiting way, but just in all I mean with this video is just to inspire free form thought and original thought and reflection. And these are some of my reflections on Deja Vu, but I don't say this authoritatively or limiting or in an ultimate sense, but I'm just offering some food for thought and insights that were landing on me recently. But I hope this is inspirational, maybe even enjoyable, or could foster and inspire original and inspirational thought in another person. But I offer these some thoughts on Deja Vu, and I say anything you're into, stay positive, keep up the effort, and believe in yourself. Peace.